Hi, I am Basanta Pathak, a medical student and statistician. Welcome to Handy Research. This is the practical guide to research where we build research thinking from the very best foundation. Internal versus external validity. Is your result truly trustworthy? Season 1 Practical Guide to Research, Episode 10. So, what is internal validity? What does it ask? It asks, is the association estimated in this study correct for the population study? Correct for population studied. In simple words, did the study measure the effect? Did the study measure the effect correctly in its own sample? Okay. Internal validity is about bias, confounding, selection, information accuracy, and proper analysis. Is these are controlled, the estimate affects the true effect, causal effect in that population. Internal validity is equals truth inside the study. So what threatens the internal validity? Same thing. It is threatened by the confounding, selection bias, information bias, measurement error, and model misspecification. For example, if cohort study fails to adjust for age, internal validity is compromised. Even if the study is large, even if follow-up is long, bias destroys the internal validity. So here is the important rule: a study with poor internal validity is not useful, even if it includes thousand of population or thousand of participants. So, what is external validity? External validity asks, can the results be generalized to other population? Can the results be generalized in other population? In simple words, does this effect apply outside the sample size? Outside the sample size. So, for example, a clinical trial includes only young males. Trial include only young males. So, even if internal valid, can we apply the results to the external or elderly female? Can we apply that results for the internal elderly female? That is the question of the external validity. So let's go through the key difference between the internal validity and the external validity. Internal validity is the estimate correct? Is the estimate correct or not? While in external validity, is the estimate generalizable? Like we have already told, if we have sample size males, then is it applicable for the elderly female or any other than the sample size? So internal validity is about the correctness, while external validity is about the applicability. So why internal validity comes first? Do you know? First, we always thought that result must be correct. If the result is not correct, then is it applicable or not? That is the second point. So a crucial principle: without internal validity, external validity is meaningless. External validity is meaningless in absence of internal validity. Then ask about the generalization. So first ensure truth inside. First ensure truth inside, then ask about the generalization. Never ever reverse the order. Now, external validity or extensibility and internal validity. Internal validity depends on extensibility. We have already explained the concept of extensibility in previous episodes. In previous episodes, extensibility means uh, exposed and unexposed groups, exposed and unexposed groups would have similar outcomes if reversed. If exposed were reversed, or if they are reversed, then exposed and unexposed groups have similar outcomes. So what breaks that extensibility? We knew that confounding. Confounding breaks that extensibility. Selection bias breaks that extensibility. Selection bias. So internal validity depends on maintaining comparability. Now, external validity and effect modification. External validity depends on effect modification. If the effect varies across population, generalization requires caution. That is the simple concept. For example, drug reduces mortality in low risk patients. Mortality reduces in low risk patients because of drug. But what about in high risk population? Is the effect smaller, or is the effect similar or not? And that's the concept here. So applying one's group result to another may be misleading, and the effect modification limits generalizability. Did you get my point? Now, let's go this concept, or let's understand this concept in randomized trials and the observational studies. Randomization trials often maximize what, external or internal. Maximize internal validity. How? Because there is the strict eligibility criteria, monitoring, and there is a control environment as well. Control environment. But this can reduce the external validity because, let's suppose, if trial excludes the elderly comorbid patients and results are internally strong but may not reflect the real world population. while taking trial while taking elderly uh, while taking elderly patient in trial, or while taking younger patients in trial, we cannot include the whole set of population. That's create the bias, or that prevent the generalizability. So observational studies often have broader population. We know in observational studies we take the lots of populations, but sometimes that's create the better external validity, but internal validity must still be the access. Okay, there might be some backlash in the internal validity. Now let's take one scenario. Suppose our trial studies new hypertensive drug, antihypertensive drug leads to the stroke prevention. The population are middle-aged men, no comorbidities. Risk ratio is equals to 0.6. That's the internal valid as well. But what about elderly patients? What about patients with kidney disease, women, different ethnic groups? We must ask, we must ask, are these baseline risks similar? Baseline risks similar or not? And is their biology similar? मतलब biological plausible, and healthcare context are similar. Healthcare context, all the things regarding the trials or everything. So external validity requires requires reasoning. 100 rupees points. Let's understand the concept transportability. So modern epidemiology uses the term transportability. What does it mean? Can we transport causal effect from one population to another? It means, can we transport causal effect from one population to another? Transportability requires similar causal mechanisms, similar distribution of effect modifiers, and proper adjustment for population difference. Population difference are properly adjusted. So this is the advantage, but the critical as well. Now let's go through the internal and external validity in meta-analysis. Meta-analysis combines the multiple study. If studies are internally valid, then the study increases precision. But if population differ greatly, then it increases heterogeneity. So heterogeneity reflects the external validity. That's why which explore this subgroup analysis, explore this. We have already explained subgroup analysis part in previous episode. So what are the threatened to the external validity? External validity, actually they restrict, if the study is restrict to packed or very small eligibility criteria, highly selected volunteers, single center study, center study, cultural difference, healthcare system difference, and different baseline risks. Different baseline risks. So, what's the example? Intervention effective in high resource hospital may not work similar in low resource settings. Intervention effective in high resource hospitals may not work similarly in low resource settings. Okay, internal validity and precision. So large sample size improve precision, we already get that, but precision is not validity. But precision is not validity, because a very precise estimate is still wrong, still can be wrong. Always prioritize bias control over sample size. Always remember it. Okay, what should you consider while reading a study? Like for step 1, you will access internal validity, then ask where bias minimized. Step 2, access external validity and ask, does my target population differ? But remember, never ever skip that step 1. Okay, first do the step 1, then the step 2. Now final conceptual clarity. Internal validity is truth inside study, while external validity, applicability or generalizability beyond the study. Study can have high internal validity plus low external validity, and low internal validity plus high external validity, and high both. This is the ideal but rare. Ideal but rare. External validity is contextual, we already knew that. Okay, remember, internal validity determine whether result is true or not, and external validity determine whether truth applies to others or not. Okay, that's the episode 10 done, and thank you for watching. Follow Handy Research. This is the Practical Guide to Research series, season 1, episode 10. Thank you.